In this week's BlizzPro Weekly, the Battle.net desktop client goes into open beta, patch 5.4, the Siege of Orgrimmar, gets its official trailer, Robert Clotworthy makes an announcement about Legacy of the Void, Hearthstone keeps approaching beta, and could we see the Diablo 3 expansion announced at GamesCom? Hey everybody, welcome to the newest episode of BlizzPro Weekly. I know we took off a week last week. Paul was in Mexico getting his sunburn on, having a good time. But we're back, all right? I am your host, as always, the fantastically bearded Chris Arnone. Let's talk first off about Battle.net, all right? Now, announced this week was that the Battle.net desktop client has released version 1.0 and is in open beta. Now, the client is one application where all Blizzard games will be launched in the near future. And the rollout for all these games will also replace their own separate individual launchers once the client comes out of beta. Now, some cool features you're going to see in this, all right? First off, you can see when your friends are playing. You can launch any Blizzard game from one single application. And if you want to switch out games, you don't have to re-authenticate once you're already in there, which is pretty cool. Another feature is going to be able to read up on the latest Blizzard game news without having to launch an internet browser, which, that's a small thing, but it's still pretty cool. Now, one major thing missing right now is the chat feature, talking with your Battle.net friends. But it sounds like this feature will definitely be implemented sometime in the future. It's just not in the open beta quite yet. Now, if you want to get a jump on this, you can go ahead, log into Battle.net, and download it and use it now. Especially if you're, preparing for the upcoming Hearthstone beta, it's highly recommended you get this because you will need the new desktop client in order to play Hearthstone. Now, let's talk World of Warcraft.
Here's the beef.
So there was some big news this week as the popular website MMO Champion revealed that Blizzard had trademarked the name The Dark Below as a software computer game. It led to all kinds of speculation around the internet. Would this be the next World of Warcraft expansion? Fans started investigating, and they found out that this was an old Warcraft RPG book. Led fans to think that this might be the next expansion. And it was going to be, you go to the underneath world to fight Queen Ashara. However, the following day, after some investigating by MMO Champion's owner, he was able to trademark under Blizzard's name the title Corgis Unleashed. Come to find out, their proof was merely just a trademark form that anyone can fill out under anyone else's name, so the Dark Below could be a complete hoax. Now, there's some conspiracy theories out there that maybe the Dark Below is real and Corgis Unleashed is just a way to get people to believe it was a hoax. But at this point, we'll just have to wait until BlizzCon to find out what's really going on and what isn't. In the meantime, to have a little fun, BlizzPro has put together a little, fan site, little site on the side to make fun of this whole situation with, if you can head right now to corgis.blizzpro.com, where you can go read up on what could be the newest World of Warcraft expansion with little corgi dogs being the new playable race of Azeroth. We're all just here to have fun, right? All right, next up, earlier this week, TwizCast had an opportunity to sit down with World of Warcraft's lead systems designer Greg Ghostcrawler Street regarding the upcoming patch 5.4. Now, we did this interview live on Twitch TV earlier this week, and in case you missed it, we have the video, the audio, and the full interview transcribed on BlizzPro.com. But let's get some highlights, all right? Some cool things that happened in there. Now, the first 3 or 4 bosses in the Siege of Orgrimmar shouldn't be too difficult for most raiding guilds. Certainly will not be the wall that Horadon was in Throne of Thunder. Now, the Proving Grounds could be used in the future to determine LFR eligibility instead of eye levels. It's a big new thing. We could see some flexible raid groups go higher than a 25-man in the future. Probably not as high as 40, though, all right? The heirloom items that drop from Garrosh are personal loot in Flex, Normal, and Heroic, and the first one that drops will be for your current loot spec for the fight. All drops afterwards will be random. And finally, Valor points will not be converted to Justice points for patch 5.4, so start saving now. All right, now, more about patch 5.4, okay? Recently, Blizzard released their official trailer for Siege of Orgrimmar, and it's probably one of the coolest patch trailers we've ever seen. And in this, you'll see an updated model of Garrosh as he prepares to corrupt the Veil of Eternal Blossoms with the Heart of Y'Shaarj. Now, the Pandaren Terran Su confronts Garrosh, and the battle between the two begins. This trailer is beautifully done, and done like past patch trailers where they do it all using in-game models. Now with how beautiful the new models are looking, we wouldn't be surprised to see new player race models for the races in the next WoW expansion we expect to have revealed at this year's BlizzCon. Enough World of Warcraft, how about some StarCraft 2?
Want a piece of me, boy?
So there was a lot of esports action this past weekend. We saw the end of 3 regional finals for Season 2 of the WCS. Now in South Korea, Maru became the youngest player in StarCraft history to win a major Pro League tournament by defeating Reign 4-2. Over in Europe, South Korean Dukdiok, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, defeated European Naniwa and Grubby to advance to the finals, where he defeated South Korean MC 4-3 and took home his very first major tournament win. Now earlier in the week, with the round of 16, Stefano got knocked out and couldn't advance to the final 8. Now, another big announcement right there. This was also the very last game of StarCraft 2 in which we will ever see Stefano. He is now retired from the game as the most successful foreigner in StarCraft 2. Well, we will definitely miss him. He was certainly a character. Now in WCS America, Scarlet was able to advance to the semifinals before getting beat by Jaedong after Jaedong pulled a 6 pull that Scarlet was not expecting, and he took the win by cheesing his way in. However, Jaedong was then defeated by South Korean Polt in the finals. Now each region had all South Koreans in their finals, and we're preparing to see South Koreans taking 11 of the 16 spots in the Season 2 finals at Gamescom next week. Scarlet is the lone North American who will represent, and we're just still not digging this whole lack of a region lock, wow, in this tournament. Anybody from anywhere can be in any of these regions, and we're just not digging it still. All right, moving on from that, Robert Clotworthy was interviewed by Clutch, along with James Harper. Now, these two played Jim Raynor and Emperor Minsk, respectively, in StarCraft lore. Now, Clotworthy said he had permission from Blizzard to go ahead and reveal something, alright? The story is finished for StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Most of the cinematics are done, and the voice acting started last week. So this could mean we might finally hear a whole lot of details about this expansion, the third part and final one for StarCraft 2 at BlizzCon. Alright, pretty cool stuff. How about Diablo 3?
Stay a while and listen.
So earlier we talked about the rumored WoW expansion, Dark Below, but this one we know is legit. Trademarked in Europe is the name Reaper of Souls. And why do we know it's real? Because Blizzard already has a Battle.net site dedicated to it. All the website says right now is, "Death at last shall spread its wings over all," and it attributes the quote to the Book of Tyrael. So more than likely, this expansion will deal with Malthael, who was considered the Archangel of Death when first shown in the Sin War novels, and he later changed to Wisdom. Well, now that Tyrael has changed to Wisdom due to Malthael's disappearance after going crazy over not being able to find the World Stone, it's likely that he has now gone completely off his rocker since Heaven's destruction in Diablo 3. Now, the quote from the website comes from Cain's End of Days prophecy, and it sounds like Malthael will become Death. Reiterate. "And at the end of days, wisdom shall be lost as justice falls upon the world of men. Valor shall turn to wrath, and all hope will be swallowed by despair. Death at last shall spread its wings over all as fate lies shattered forever." Now, the speculation is that the expansion will be announced next week at Gamescom in Germany, as the Diablo team said they will be making a major announcement there. Now, with this new website, the image on the site, we've also noticed, is actually labeled D3X, and it was first launched. If you tried linking the site in Facebook, the title that was given, sort of automatically would say Diablo 3 expansion. So really kind of tipping their hand there. I think at this point, it's a safe bet that next week we're going to learn about the new Diablo 3 expansion. All right, enough about all those great demon hunters. Let's talk Hearthstone.
Pull up a chair by the hearth.
So, JR, here we are, middle of August, still no beta. Somebody fucked up that prediction. It wasn't me. However, we are closer. Of course, every day that ticks by, we can always say it's closer, but, humor me for a minute. Jason Chase, the lead producer for the Hearthstone development team, put put out a long blog last week about the state of the game. Now, some of the highlights included were the fact that they are now done with all of the features in the game that they want in there for release. This means things like gold currency, the arena mode, all those things are finished. Now, it doesn't mean they're bug-free by any stretch of the imagination, but the features themselves are in a deployable state. Now, he went on to say that we're not days away from the beta, but we're also not months away, for that matter. They're still scheduled for a summer beta release. Now, given that summer officially ends September 21st, that still gives us a little over a month for the beta to actually hit, and them still to have, not delayed. Now, one of the major roadblocks for the beta was completing the arena, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. So that's the draft-like mode in Hearthstone that they're implementing, and we showed it off earlier in the month in a live stream. So what's been holding up the beta now? Well, we talked earlier in this video about the Battle.net desktop client, now in open beta. You have to have the desktop client if you want to play a Hearthstone beta, alright? So now that that's hit, maybe it's coming next week. It does seem like this is the final piece we need, but it's hard to say. We're not the developers. We're not the ones back there seeing how things are working and how things are coming along. But now they seem to have all these structures in place, and the features are done. We should be seeing it soon. Also, recently data mined have been 2 more patches in the alpha for Hearthstone. One of them's pretty major. Lots of card balancing has gone on, reducing some of the larger 10-10 minions down to 8-8. Now, if you're interested in all those changes, we're not going to go into them here, but just be sure to check out our Hearthstone site at hearthstone.blizzpro.com. Of course, I'm your host, the Bearded Gamer, or used to be at least, the Beard, Chris Arnone. I'm all over the web, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. I'm a Goodreads author. Go check that out. And of course, why don't you go visit BlizzPro.com. All the news, reviews, great community, everything you need to know about Blizzard games. Oh yeah, and are you listening to Twizcast? Are you watching Twizcast? Well, why the fuck not? Go check it out. It's awesome, all right? They just had Ghost Crawler. Pfft, that's huge, right? Go listen. Subscribe here. Check it all out. We'll see you guys next time.